Alright, Infernal Blessings. We are back with another video. Alright, before we begin, a couple quick announcements. First and foremost, if you are interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different types of readings, Clepathic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, deity readings to see what gods, goddesses, demons, and spirits walk with you. Egyptian oracle readings, shadow work readings, which I've said many times before is always a great place to start. Shadow work readings always point you in the right direction. A lot of people always ask, what kind of work should I be doing right now as I'm on this path? What direction should I be going into? Well, as we know, shadow work is continual, and you should be doing consistent shadow work all the time, or consistently when needed to point you in that right direction. Maybe you're just interested in a spiritual consultation, which, as I said, people use. Most people use it as a full hour question and answer session with me. They just bring a list of questions they got. Some people like to use it to focus on specific areas of the occult or the left-hand path. Or sometimes they want to focus on a specific thing, situation, or something going on in their life. Whatever you choose, any of the aforementioned, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. And please include in the email your full weekly availability, along with the time zone that you're in. Okay, very important that you put the time zone. This way I can find a time that works for you in accordance with my schedule and a time that works for me, for both of us. All right, if you want to sign up for classes, the way to sign up for classes is go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page located at patreon.com/Baniti, BANITI. Tier 3, that's the tier you want to join. Tier 3 is going to give you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, in addition to the group ritual we do together at the end of the month. Also keep in mind, when you join the Patreon page, it just doesn't give you access the day you join moving forward. It also gives you access to everything in the archives going back 4+ years. If you want to see all the various different ongoing classes I have going on right now, go to the Patreon page, go to the collection section, patreon.com/Baniti, and you can see all of the ongoing classes right now where new content is being added consistently. For an example, this month, also to put out there for Patreon members, July's Patreon classes and rituals are up for the month of July. This month we have Luciferian Magic and Self-Mastery class, Esoterical Occult Bible Study class, Ancient Egyptian Vampiric class, and getting to my next point in the announcements, what this video is about. It is July, and here at Primordial Chaos, we celebrate every July. It's the month of Set. Okay, this is Set's month. We commemorate and dedicate the whole month of July. It's his feast month. So we utilize this whole month in working with Set, and we culminate the end of the month with a ritual, and it'll be the celebration of Set ritual and rite, which will take place at the end of this month. All right, so that's the Patreon classes and rituals for this month. Also, the July Ozili Dantor working. For those who have been doing the working since the beginning of the year, we're in month 7, July. That working is up for those that are continuing their spiritual journey and working with the great Ozili Dantor. So all of the Patreon events up. You can go to the Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, and you can check out all of the ongoing classes, and I'm constantly adding new content. All right, don't forget to check out the social media platforms, Primordial Chaos 9 on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 2 words on Facebook, and then primordialchaos3.com on Instagram. I'm sorry, TikTok. I always get that confused. All right, that's the best way to keep up with what I'm doing, announcements, classes, events. Mark your calendars, October 31st to November 3rd. We have already booked the venue again for 2024. The 7th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference. If you are coming or you are interested in possibly doing a presentation at this year's event, either in person or virtually, shoot me an email, let me know. I can consider, possibly to consider you. It's not a guarantee. We have limited spots, but I'm always looking for new presenters. I'm always want people to be exposed to different people's perspectives at these conferences. So if you're interested in presenting either in person if you're coming or possibly virtually, shoot me an email. If you want to sign up for the conference, that's going to be available in about 2 weeks. We're going to open the registration to sign up and register for the conference. It will be available virtually, and it'll be available in person as it is every year. The only thing you don't get virtually, the rituals. You get all the classes and the workshops. If you sign up virtually, you just don't get access to the rituals. There's too much going on in the conference. I don't film it or video it. I just focus on the ritual work. It's just a lot going on. All right. And also don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify, all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, along with my contact email address, the social media page links, and the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. That's tier 3 you want to sign up for to get access to all the classes. All that's in the description box of this video that you're watching right now. All right. So as I said, Set, the many attributes and titles that Set is known by: the god of chaos, the god of desert and storms, right? I like to refer to him as the great king of darkness, the mask of the adversary that likes to bring up that chaos, not just because, see, people get it confused, not just because Set is just all about chaos and destruction, that he just brings it up and destroys your life. And yes, he brings it up. He makes you face what you're avoiding in order to make order out of it. I want to make that clear, okay? So this month, as we do every year now, I believe this is the 4th year. This is the 4th straight year now. I believe we've been venerating Set because according to the Egyptian calendar in Cairo, as you know, the 29th, depending on the calendar, is usually approximated with his feast day. So we always try to keep it the last weekend of the month. I believe last year it fell right on point. I believe this year it's the 27th. We're doing something 2 days prior. So we take the month July, which is Set's month. It's also symbolic of July and the summer solstice because it's so hot this time of the year. And that burning energy of the sun and the summer solstice is connected to Set. But on the ancient Egyptian calendar in Cairo, Egypt, July 29th and month of July, we honor him and we keep his feasts. Not in the form to worship. Remember, when we're working with spirits, gods, goddesses, and demons, we look at them as our equivalent. We're trying to get back to that status that we're invoking them for. We walk side by side with these spirits. We don't grovel before them. We don't worship them. Because we know we have lost our true way. We have lost the true understanding, understanding, overstanding, and beyond the standing of who we really are. And that system of servitude and religion and worship has kept us in that spooktified state of mind is the best way I could describe it. That spooktified state of mind where we can't even think for ourselves anymore. So when I say the feast, not in the sense that we're worshiping anything or anybody, because we're not. We're commemorating, giving reverence, honor, and respect, just like we would request the same from fellow human beings that we walk with in this realm. We expect people to honor us, give us that reverence and that respect, but it has to be earned, okay? Right? Respect is not something given. Respect is something earned. So when you start walking on this path, working with deities like Set, you better come with a certain level of intelligence. It's the only way you'll get that equal reverence and respect. If you come with inferiority and fear, you're going to get consumed and devoured. Not just with Set, but especially Set, but with a lot of other infernal deities, spirits, gods, goddesses, and demons that are part of this path. People misunderstand what this path is about because they've been so programmed with words like infernal, that must be evil, demon, spirits, gods and goddesses, that must be pagan. The funny thing is people don't realize they're consciously doing that because they've been programmed. All of that, whether you're religious or not, is coming from a religious mind state that you've been indoctrinated or programmed with, okay? Because to give you a better understanding, the perception that so-called right-hand path philosophers have, where they look at their monotheistic gods and prophets as being what they see in their eyes or interpretation as helpful beings to aid them, or helpful God or prophets or messengers, whether it's to assist them on this path. Our approach is no different, except we're working with these gods, goddesses, demons, and spirits in their pure form. We're not cutting it, diluting it, and presenting it as something else. Infernals, demons, gods, and goddesses are basically here at your access in order for you to evolve and make exceptional growth on your path of self-mastery. They don't want you to understand that side of spirituality, because then you'll become the ruler and the governor of your spiritual path. You'll become a god or a goddess. You won't need the middleman. You won't need the priest, the pastor, the imam, the sheikh, the rabbi, the reverend, and all these other titles you've been programmed, because you think in your mind, because someone wears a reverend collar or has a title in front of their name, that makes them better than you or smarter than you. It means absolutely nothing at the end of the day, people. Set, who represents the great power of rebelliousness, he is that great rebellious spirit or energy, in the sense that he rebels against any bullshit. I consider, which I believe in my experience, in my own personal understanding, I've obviously along the path, like many of you have, you've developed certain patriarchal and matriarchal spirits. And I've walked with Set even when I was on just a mainstream Egyptian Kemetic path. I didn't know back then in the early to mid 90s why I was so drawn and attracted to Set, but I realize now, like Santa Muerte, that I was being prepped back then for this moment in the now. Okay? I was always fascinated with Set. As I said, I was the child, like many of us, when you watched Star Wars or any of the villain movies, you always had sympathy and empathy for the villain. Because something inside of you said, though they were painting a picture to attack these individuals who are painted in these stories as the villains, but you always sensed the real truth that they were talking about. Right? I was one of those kids. I was one of the kids that I thought when I was younger that I wasn't. Is it normal to like Darth Vader? Is it normal to feel compassion for Set? Is it normal to feel compassion for the monster? Because I believe some of us always had within us the essence where we were able to relate on a more esoterical and spiritual level what the character type or the archetype of the story represented. Okay? Set is, to me, and I can only share my experiences, and I'm sure some of you have had very similar experiences. Outside of what's written in books, yes, I know he is the god of chaos and destruction. Everything that he's known by Set Typhoon, he has different aspects, masks, but yes, he is one tough son of a bitch. It's the best way I could describe it. It's like going on the most scariest amusement park roller coaster ride you could ever go on. Because Set will make you fear for your life and realize the things about yourself. One, like many other times on your journey, shit you've been avoiding. He'll make you deal with bullshit that you may have subconsciously buried. Or maybe you're pretending it's not there and you're trying to avoid it. Set brings it full circle. Doesn't play no games. This is what it means when it says he's the god of chaos, because he brings all of that chaos that you have within yourself that you have not been dealing with or avoiding or having been addressing. He's going to bring it up intentionally for the sole fact you can make order out of it. Okay? You must bring that chaos out. We are all chaos beings. We're birthed into chaos. Now, understanding chaos is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just your understanding or lack thereof of it that could make it bad. Right? When we talk about chaotic energy, chaos, primordial chaos, which, as I've told you guys before, is the inspiration for naming my YouTube channel, is the root source of the prime energy that all things manifested out of. Right? So the most powerful energy one can connect with is primordial chaotic energy. As we refer to some of these ancient spirits, gods, goddesses, and demons as the primordials. Whether we call them the primordial mothers, this, that, or the other. We're saying, taking that word primordial, and it goes back into the English word prime. And something that's the prime of something, prime rib, prime steak. It is the cream of the crop, as they say. The original, prime, primary, primordial. All these words are connected. Set too is a primordial chaotic being. Okay? We see the connection again, as I've talked many times before, which it's a great time of the year to review this. I always love to bring up the story of Ra's journey through the underworld and how Set navigated and sat on the bark of Re and navigated the boat through the underworld. Who was the one that Ra had to rely on because he could not get through the realms of the underworld? Remember, he encounters a Pep at gate 3 and gets stuck like Chuck. And he has to invoke some of the gateway keepers or the beings of the underworld to assist him in getting through. And that story, as I've said before, of Ra's journey through the underworld is your story. Okay? That's your story and your journey. That's you going through your trials and tribulations. That's you not understanding yourself. When you go back to that story, as Ra tried every day, as it says, from the late evening hours to dawn to try to keep a Pep at bay, he was trying to kill and destroy a Pep. You can't destroy energy. This is why Set is so linked closely to a Pep, and there's an aspect of Set called Set/a Pep, because Set was the only one who what? Could make order out of the pure chaos that a Pep brings. Ra was trying to thought he could completely eliminate a primordial chaotic energetic force, a spiritual power he didn't have an understanding of. So he would go to war every night trying to destroy this force called a Pep that would come in the late evening hours up until dawn, which is symbolic, is the same way that a Pep comes to you and terrorizes you when you are going through a lot of things, or you're stressed out and you're laying up in the late night hours and you can't get no sleep because you got shit on your mind. Because when the mind settles in, it calms down, the body's algorithms get into the frequency it needs to. When you're relaxed, that's when an influx of thoughts start to come in, and that could be good or bad. So a Pep tries to attack all of us in those hours. Sometimes he tries to come in dreams. It could be in the form of dreams. It could be in the form of mental restlessness. What Set tried and did show Ra, his father, according to the stories, was you're doing it all wrong. You can't destroy energy. You can only manipulate it. You can't, this is why in certain spiritual systems, some of them don't make sense, because it's the same thing I talk about banishing. You can't destroy something. Energy, called energy, because energy can only be manipulated. Okay? It can't be destroyed. It can't be created. It just is. Understanding existence and to be and is without sounding like a bunch of mumbo jumbo rambling on, you get a greater understanding of that in your spiritual practices and your rituals. This is why I've said you have always been here. We've just lost sight of that. Okay? You have always existed before existence existed, as crazy as that may sound. They want you to think you're some new type of being, some new type of manifestation that just manifested, you know, in the last cycle or realm of existence, and that's not true. Okay? Set takes you back and gives you a greater, deeper understanding of these things. And this is why Set refused to bow down or conform to anybody's ideology or spiritual path in ancient Egypt. And this is why he was demonized by the Osirian cult, because when they were ruling in their dynasty in Egypt and trying to get everybody to convert to their method and spiritual practice, he refused. And all those who belonged to the cult of Set refused They stood firm on their divinity. Anybody that stands up for themselves, speaks out against injustice, they're always going to be, demonized. They're always going to be attacked, antagonized. Anytime you go against the norm and you don't agree with the norm, that just comes with the territory, right? And this was Set, right? Set represents everything that we're trying to become. A nonconformist, the deep representations of the isolated consciousness, you name it, it's there. Everything that embodies the left-hand path of the occult, you can find represented in Set or Satuk. As I said, he is the most unique deity in ancient Egypt. To the point to this day, they're still mystified of what is the animal mask that Set is wearing. Yes, I know the various different theories of what people are saying. Oh, it's a boar. It's got the snout. It's a canine. It's got the ears of a donkey, a jack. The reason why it's so chaotic and uncertain, because that's part of what Set represents. You can't put Set in a box like other deities and label him and categorize him. He is the great manifestation. I don't say the Prince of Darkness, the King of Darkness. In the Egyptian pantheon, he is the great Lucifer. He is the great adversary. He is the great Satan. Okay? And that's what the celebration of Set ritual is about. It incorporates all of those aspects of Set, Satan, and Lucifer. You'll understand it when we get to the ritual at the end of the month. We've never done a ritual like this. But for those that are on Patreon, you'll experience the merging of these three masks. Okay? The celebration of Set month, Set/Lucifer/Satan. That's probably what I'll title this video, more than likely. You will understand in that ritual how these different three manifestations of the mask of the adversary, how they're the same, but different manifestations at different periods. So during this period in ancient Egypt, he manifested as the great Set, or Satuk, or Seth. Okay? Or Setnuk. Okay? So this month makes us really reflect on, and in my opinion, okay, it's just my opinion, based on my experience, my favorite form or manifestation of the adversary to work with is Set. Okay? Because of everything that Set embodies. Alright? So that's what this month is for, to give you a deeper understanding of the mask of the adversary in the form of Set. The celebration of Set ritual that we will be doing at the end of the month will be a great ritual and rite, as we do every year, to connect with the great King of Darkness, Set. Okay? And it's real, folks. Okay? And as it's been the last couple of years, last year we worked with the carnelian stones. I'm going to go into meditation in the next few days to see what we come up with, where Set directs us for this month, and we'll get to work. So, last thing I want to leave you guys with, like we've done the last few years, doesn't mean stop your other work or the other different type of work that you're doing. But what I would ask you guys to do, incorporate consistent work throughout this month, working with the great King of Darkness, Set. Okay? Ruler of the world, ruler of the universes, and I say that not in a worship form, but because of the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding that he embodies and what he represents. Okay? So, devote this month, in addition to what you're doing, to Set. All right? Other than that, if you need to reach out to me, my contact email address, the direct link to the social media pages, the direct link to the podcast, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos page for classes, all that information, Patreon links, everything is in the description box of this video. Don't forget to check out the Patreon page. become a Patreon member, you'll have access to tons of classes archived, and plus you'll be able to participate live in newer upcoming classes. All that information is in the description box of this video you're watching right now. All right, we'll talk soon. Infernal blessings. We're out of here.